Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I am so glad that you are joining us for an extremely special edition of Candid Conversations with Dr. Lisa. Today, I have my wonderful friends, teammates, and colleagues. We're also part of the GPS family that is founded by the one and only Dr. Karim R. Ellis. It is not a GPS event that we're going to be talking about. It is one of our teammates, and I am going to introduce you to the number one divorce recovery specialist, Miss Twyla M. Marks. Welcome to the Purple Couch here with Candid Conversations with Dr. Lisa. And she is the host of the upcoming event that's happening in DeSoto, Texas, Picking Up the Pieces Expo. So we wanted to have a conversation about her event and why events like these are even important, why the whole concept of picking up the pieces is important to her life. Twyla, welcome to the Purple Couch, girl. You're muted, I
Thank
see.
you. I'm
There
so
you go.
excited to be here with you, Dr. Alisa, and thank you so much for this conversation on tonight. I'm excited about what we're going to be talking about on tonight.
Yes, and I know that you did not come alone. You came bringing some of our other fam, some of the individuals that will be speaking at the event. So now I'm going to introduce my dear brother and friend also. He is the Better Way strategist, if I got that right, the one
You
and
got it
only
right.
Derron Rowan.
Hi.
He is a motivational speaker and a Better Way strategist. He will also be a keynote speaker at the event in DeSoto next week, where we'll be hanging out. Darren, how are you doing today? And welcome to the
Hi.
Purple Couch.
First of all, I love the purple couch. That's nice. You slayed
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I'm
We
glad to
just
be
we
here.
just want to kick
Yeah.
it and chat. Listen, this is not one of those places. This was created for my friends and my family, so we could just talk and drop some gems and motivate some people and encourage them and share our stories and our insight in life as we go along. So it's just a sip and chat, sit back and relax. I love the color purple. And my girl Twyla too loves the purple, so that all worked out.
That's right.
But that's not it. It's not just the three of them, right? We have got the number one breakthrough strategist,
Yeah.
master speaker coach, international best-selling author of the book GPS My Success. He's also SpeakerCon's motivational speaker of the year 2022, lifetime presidential achievement award 2022. This man is racked up. I'll go all day, but he is
Facts.
our coach, he's our brother, he's our friend. He is the keynote for the event, Picking Up the Pieces. I'm going to introduce y'all, and I know most of you on my platforms and probably Darren's and Twyla's knows Dr. Karim R. Ellis, the number one breakthrough strategist. Welcome to the Purple Couch, boss.
Well, it's always an honor. It's a privilege and a pleasure to be right here on the Purple Couch. I saw myself fade in and fade out. I thought I was watching the Crossroads video from Bone Thugs and Harmony. I saw myself come in and come out, come back in. I didn't know what was going on.
Listen, Dr. Kareem, I'm gonna see. This is why we have to have these candid conversations. I'm just gonna be real. I'm over here playing MC, hostess, and producer and clicker, and I clicked up and clicked you in and click you out. So Bone and Harmony is all on me. But I am so happy to have you and the rest of the fam here this afternoon. We're talking picking up the pieces. So we're just going to dive right into the conversation, you all.
Sure.
I want to ask us, what are some of the common reasons that people find themselves losing their pieces anyway? How would you describe that? Let's just take a round robin, take a shot at it. I'm sipping water. Some people got some other beverage, but I ain't saying nothing.
Well, I'll say ladies first. So Twyla, you go ahead and jump into it.
Yeah. So, what are some of the reasons why people have to pick up their lives, pick up the pieces in their lives? You know, a lot of people go through so much. We carry so much weight on us daily, right? Your mom, your wife, your husband, your dad, you have kids, you have a spouse, you have a job, the busyness of life And some people mentally, emotionally, we break down, and we all need breaks. We all need to rest. Sometimes we don't get that. We don't get an option to do that. So we have those moments where we just break down. And like me, myself, I had to take a break the other day from it all, y'all. I just had to get away, shut down. Like I had to, like we did in COVID, I had to shut myself down from the world because I felt the pressure. I felt overwhelmed. I felt stressed. And so the number one breakthrough strategist, my coach, my mentor, he said, Twyla, stop stressing. Just don't stress. It's going to be what it's going to be. And so I think people need to pick up the pieces from their lives, from those mental breakdowns and those emotional breakdowns. And sometimes we just don't realize it until we're in the breakdown.
D, what do you think is causing breakdown? You know, what kind of things happen in our lives that cause these breakdowns anay?
I think it's a number of things that can cause our breakdowns, but I would just probably, for me, I'm talking about right now, is just wanting to not being able to move forward in life from something that has knocked you down, and then just maybe the feeling the pressure of wanting to do better and not having the support system or maybe the knowledge to do better, which people are going to learn next weekend when they come to the conference, learning from some of the great, amazing speakers and that Twyla has assembled. We'll get those points. We'll get those teachables that we can move forward, because we don't want to stay stuck. I didn't want to stay stuck, and you want to be better and do better, but if you don't know how, it's sometimes it's hard to move forward if you don't know how, and that can be frustrating all by itself. It's like trying to fight out of a paper bag, like, man, I can see it, but I can't. So coming to this conference weekend after next, you're going to be able to, hear some transparent and some tangible stories, and pick up some teachables that can help you to gain momentum in yourself and believe in yourself to pick up the pieces and to move forward.
Absolutely. Dr. Karim.
Well, I'll add in there, because both these folks, they kind of laid it out there. So I'm picking off the rib meat that's left on the bone. I'm trying to pick off, got that piece of chicken left. You're just trying to get what you can without getting that vein. Like, that vein on the chicken wing, and just mess everything up for me. Like, I can't do that vein. But what I'll add in there is there's a lot of people that's broken that don't realize they're broken. I'm going to say it again. There's a lot of people that's broken that don't realize they're broken. I remember about a decade ago, I was helping a couple move, and one of the most annoying things they had was they had this Chihuahua, and this Chihuahua wasn't like a normal Chihuahua because it had this huge hump in its back, right? And I mean, it was like the hunchback of Notre Dame. It had this hump, and every time I got close to the dog, he just and so it got irritating after a while. And so while they would take the stuff out to the truck, and when no one else around, no animal haters come for me today. When no one else is around, I did one of them on him. And he scurried into the cage. But it was funny because the shape of his back, he couldn't pick up the speed and velocity to get there. And so out of curiosity, they had to ask the couple, what happened with his back? And they said when he was a baby, someone mishandled him and dropped him from about a good 5 feet in the air, and he landed on his back. And they didn't have the common sense to take him to the vet to get the back put back into alignment. And so he healed, but he healed broken. So in his mind, he didn't think anything was wrong with him walking around here with a hunch in his back, not able to pick up speed and run. But he didn't realize the fact that he was broken and healed broken. And so I think the concept for me when it comes to this event in Texas is there's a lot of people that have been dropped by life situation and circumstances, whether that was the job that let you go without your permission, without you knowing what's going to happen, whether that was the relationship, that toxic relationship, or that narcissistic relationship that let you go at the last minute. You had no idea what was going on. I'm talking to folks that had all types of financial struggles. We got some people that got dropped during 2020, the year of COVID, and they've been walking around broken. They've been mishandled. If you get dropped and broken, you don't always have a say over how you get dropped. You don't always get a say over how you get broken, but damn it, it's your responsibility to find your way back to a place of health where you can get fixed. And so for me, I'm looking at folks that are broken who don't even realize they're broken.
Wow.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
I love what you said there, Dr. Kareem. Sometimes we are broken and we're in pieces and we don't know, and it becomes such a norm, like it was for that dog you described. And so, Twyla, when I want to bounce back to you, when you thought about putting together this particular event, picking up the pieces expo, what were you intending to do for the participants, and when you thought about bringing in experts, what was behind all that for you? What pushed you to that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my brand is all about divorce recovery, right? So the focal point was initially for just divorcees, but not everybody goes through a marital divorce. Some people need to divorce people, places, or things. And sometimes when I was going through this and planning this event, I thought, let me look at the stats. Let me look at the divorce rates. If y'all know, the first marriage ends, there's 41% of the first marriages end in divorce. The second one is even higher. It's 60%. The third one is 73%. So what that tells me is a lot of people, since we're on this healing thing right now, a lot of people just jump into the next relationship after the next relationship without going through a healing process. It takes time to heal. Don't get back out there. Somebody asks me sometimes when I'm coaching folks, oh, when do I need to date again? You will know when you need to date again, but you need to work on you. Go through your healing process and your journey, because everybody's journey and healing process looks different. So to answer your question, Dr. Alisa, that is what my focal point was, to get folks, speakers, professionals like you all in the room to talk to people about what it looks like to start over. And it's okay to start over. It's okay to pick up those pieces, regardless of how old you are. We all go through it. And so it's okay. And don't be embarrassed, but get yourself together before you jump out there into another relationship, especially if you was with a narcissist. It's a lot of healing that needs to take place with a narcissist. I'm telling you.
And you know what, this is why I got tickled pink last year, because this event, Twyla, you've been planning this for over a year, and I personally came on board with you as a co-host about 6 months ago, and these gentlemen were already assigned speakers, so they knew that this was coming. This has been on their calendar. The thing though, what made me so excited, because personally, the biggest time in my life, I felt like I was completely in pieces and lost at about age 34 was when I went through my separation and divorce. And sometimes I realized that not everybody would have gone through a divorce. I know all four of us on this call went through some semblance of a divorce, and I'm saying that quote unquote because Dr. Kareem speaks publicly.
My situation is different. Annulment. We got to do it.
And so picking up the pieces from that, I mean, like, how on earth do you get annulment? That's a story, and you can share Dr. Kareem later if you're comfortable, because this is what we call candid freaking conversations. So if this offends you, you can tune out, but it's here to help people. We're here to talk, speak candidly, and share. I went through such a confusion. Twyla, one of the things you talk about is a loss of identity theft. I was suffering from identity theft naturally and real life. Like a couple people in Texas were using my identity for work, but I was lost as to who am I and what am I supposed to do and be without this person I was with for 17 years of my life, from the time I was 17 to age 34. And the whole concept and the vision that we had created together, like everything was in pieces on the floor, right? And it's like, I don't even know where this, like the blame game was not helping me. So I was without a compass, and there was so many things to navigate. There was a divorce. There was us dividing the properties and possessions we had accumulated all together. Like I said, I was 17, he was 19 when we got in a relationship. So basically I was getting out of high school, he was just starting college. So we got everything we owned together up until that point. And there was so much needed besides, so when you put this event together, what I noticed is you brought all these experts. You brought a breakthrough strategist, a better way strategist,
Right.
a mindset disruptor. And can you tell us some of the other people you had on there and why? And then I'll have the gentleman chime in as to what it was for them that made them feel like they were in pieces.
Absolutely, absolutely. So yes, I have one of the top divorce attorneys. Her name is Susan Guthrie. She's based out of Chicago. She is going to be talking about the legal aspect of divorce and some other things. Her top tip things that she doesn't share on every stage, but she's going to be sharing that at Picking Up the Pieces Expo. I have Carlene Johnson. She is a certified divorce recovery expert. Excuse me. Sorry, certified divorce real estate expert. Putting my title with hers, but certified divorce real estate expert. She helps people sell their home as it relates to going through divorce, and she's a neutral party. She partners with the court systems and attorneys to get that done. And then I have another coach. She's an infidelity coach, Antonise Davis. She's going to share her story as it relates to how she recovered from infidelity and how she moved on and picked up the pieces of her broken life during that situation. Wow. Yeah. And then I have a co-parenting expert, Lydia Saunders. So we have a slew of folks, y'all, coming to this event. A lot of great information if you're in that space. And then, Arletta Allen, a trauma recovery coach. She is amazing. Amazing. And trauma does not have to be a divorce. She's kicking us off. So you got to get in the building and be on time because you want to hear Arletta Allen.
And let me just say this before these gentlemen take over. I needed all them people. I couldn't afford it. So when you talk about bringing an event where you have all these experts to help you literally pick up the pieces, you're getting expert tips, guidance and direction and access, right? To all these experts in one day. So if you're going through and just getting out or about to, or you think you might, or you know someone would do, this type of environment is so needed. And again, Dr. Karim and Derron, all of us, we spoke a couple nights ago when we did our Instagram live with you, Twyla, that it's not just even divorce. Sometimes you need these services. So I got a question for you, Dr. Karim. Maybe you all can share at a time. What it would mean for you, because I know you both, like you said, Dr. Karim said he got an annulment, you got a divorce. What would it mean to have, when you were going through, to have an event like this? And what would that look like for you? What did you need that you didn't have or wanted?
Well, I needed everything that's going to be in that room. And it would have saved me thousands of dollars if I had some of the things that some of the experts she's bringing in. I've already talked about the other day, just even about the real estate expert that would have helped me save my home and not being evicted from my home. Man, that just that alone was big money. Yeah. But for me, being in this room to hear some amazing speakers is also going to help me to realize that sometimes it wasn't the pieces that are around me that was broken. It was the pieces that I broke.
Wow.
It was the pieces. Wow. It was the humans that I broke. Wow. It was the dreams and the goals and the visions that I broke because God gave me something and I mismanaged something. Oh, wow. So the guilt and the shame of me knowing I hurt somebody else led to my broken pieces. So just even dealing with this conference, I'm not coming just to speak. I'm coming through for a breakthrough. I'm coming through for a breakthrough, Dr. Karim. I'm coming through for a breakthrough. Come on.
Gosh.
I love it.
Dr. Karim.
I'll segue in because I think what mine was a little bit probably more unique than most situations and circumstances. Yes. So one of the things I needed access to was resources. Right. It was uncharted territory. Everyone I talked to, they're like, we don't know nothing about how this one handles, how you manage this. Like courts didn't know, attorneys didn't know. And so it was a whole lot of me on the ground trying to figure it out. So if I had access to resources, that would have been great. You guys already know my motto. You can't spell the word resource without the word source, and God is always source. So for many folks coming to this event, it's going to be illustrated to plug into source. All the resources you need will always revolve around being around source. But the other thing that I think that I had to experience, I think other folks may be going through as well, because the concept is all about picking up the pieces, but you have to understand when you put the pieces back together and when you put the pieces in the trash, right? I remember as a kid growing up, I had my favorite mugs and I dropped the mug and broke it on the handle piece, right? And because it was a clean break, that broken piece could be attached back on with some glue, a little bit of heat, a little bit of time. But I also remember when I dropped the mirror and the mirror shattered into a bunch of different pieces, and there's no way in the world I could have put that back together. The danger is in handling those broken pieces, they were so sharp, it was cutting me and anyone I hit in the vicinity of handling that mirror. So I want to be clear going into this conference, and if I'm not clear going into this conference, I want to be clear going out. When it comes to picking up the pieces, am I picking up the pieces because there's pieces I can put back together, or am I picking up the pieces so that no one else gets cut by what I'm leaving behind, most importantly myself, because sometimes the pieces can't be fixed and I gotta toss them in the trash. So with me, I had to come to that brass tack decision. Do you keep trying to put this back together because the brother was trying, or do you say, you know what, enough's enough, the mirror's shattered, I'm tired of cutting my fingertips with it, it's going in the trash, right? So that's something I really want folks to understand and understand coming out of here. I want you to walk away knowing what to do with those pieces when you pick them up.
Wow. You know, Dr. Karim, I love that because as a child, one of my favorite things to do was fixing puzzles. They didn't have Legos as much. I'd probably be playing with those two because as an adult, I still play with Legos every chance I get. But I had many puzzles. My grandfather used to bring them from all over the world. And one of the biggest ones he brought was like 1,000 pieces. And they were so small. I was about 5. But my dad actually fixed that one and he created a nice portrait for a wall, a large portrait. But every so often, my puzzle pieces, I'll get them all in each different boxes. And then sometimes we got them wet or whatever. And so as you were speaking a moment ago, I had this vision of misplaced puzzle pieces. They just were in places that they didn't belong. So like you said, you can either sometimes you just misplace so many puzzle pieces, or that thing was so raggedy and tore up. Like you said, you just needed to get rid of some of them. So that right there in itself, you and Derron got my head spinning. He's like, I was the one who broke the pieces because I was trying to figure out what broke you. He's like, I did some breaking.
Yeah.
So here's the question I got for you all, and I'll go round robin again with you, Twyla. Why should we focus so much on the recovery and healing in order to achieve the level of fulfillment that we're looking at and reaching and meeting our goals? Like, why is that important that we should recover and literally pick up the pieces?
Yeah, I think, but we have to be healed so we can walk into our God-given destined purpose, right? If you're unhealed, you're broken, how are you going to help someone else, right? And so, yeah, it's imperative to be whole, to be healed, so you can show up as your best self to help someone else. And all the pain that we all experience, it is part of our purpose. It's part of our God-given destiny. It doesn't seem like it when we're going through it, right? We're hurting. We just want out of it. I know me personally, I just wanted out of it. I didn't care about purpose at that time. Didn't want to talk about that. I just wanted out of my situation and was tired of crying and the tears and the pain, and all of that produced purpose and why I'm doing what I'm doing now, hosting this event to help others pick up their pieces of their life and walk into their God-given purpose.
That's a torchbearer right there. D, tell us, why was healing and recovery such an intentional thing you had to do to pick up the pieces that you broke and some that broke you?
Because T.D. Jakes said that if God was done with you, you have no breath in your body. So because I still had breath in my body and I did not want to give up in life no more, I began to put those steps back together. Like Dr. Karim said, there were people that I could go to and apologize and give my heart and say, hey, this happened, I apologize. And there were some people I can do that to, and they accepted an apology, but I didn't want to pick that piece up anymore. Because every time I seen that piece, even though it may have been put back together again mentally, it still affected me emotionally and physically. So I had to do right what God wanted me to do, but for myself, for me, for my mental health, there were some pieces I just had let stay. So in order for me to pick up and move forward again, I had to come face to face with some things. How am I going to change? How am I going to be better? How can I avoid this mistake? Because we all know that hurt people hurt people.
That's right.
And just like Dr. Kareem said, if you're not careful picking up that big piece or that little piece, it's not going to just cut you. It's going to cut someone else too. So I'm going to talk about proximity. So I had to change my proximity of people. When I was with certain groups, they was okay with being broken. And some people get addicted to your pain of being broken.
Yes.
Yeah.
They want you to be broken so that they can feel stronger, so they can be better. So I had to move to only quality people. You know what I mean? I had to go to only quality people. And I never knew through all of that, because I put the work in. And because we're gonna talk about putting the work in 2 weeks, that God will put me in a proximity of a family like you guys. You know what I mean? With a leader like Dr. Ellis. And so that lets me know that my hard work, that my pieces are not just back together again, but now they're working. Now they're working. And God can use them for my purpose.
Come on. Ooh, I
love it.
Ooh, how important is healing and recovery? And how did you handle that so you can pick up the pieces and continue to be the trailblazer that you are?
Well, first of all, I have to understand how God sees me, right? And a lot of times I think we have a different viewpoint of ourselves versus what God sees in us. And so one of the things I have to learn is you are the MVP of your storyline. You are the most valuable person. You are the most valuable player. And one of the worst things that can happen to the MVP during Super Bowl season is for the MVP to get hurt, right? Right before the final game. And so there's an option, because most times you get hurt, you can still play.
Yeah.
You can be out there with a sprained ankle and still be throwing the football down the field and limping real good. But if you mess around there and put too much weight on that weak ankle, you can go from hurt to injured. If you get injured, now you may be out indefinitely for the rest of the season. And everyone else who's supposed to play on your line suffers because of the result of that. Right. And so for me personally, I just kept trying to go 100 in the paint, like to get past my situation. I just put myself into the body of work and kept moving and moving and moving. And God said, yeah, that's great. You were moving, but son, you were out there playing hurt. And if you keep playing at the tempo you're playing and don't sit your butt down and heal, you're going to go out there and not only injure you, but you can injure someone else on the field.
Come on.
Right. And so I think that's the bigger concept. So once you start to see yourself in the image and likeness of God, knowing that I am the MVP of my story, I don't care what they said to you. I don't care what they said about you. I don't care if they left you high and dry. I don't care if they betrayed you. I don't care if they turned their back on you when you least expected it. I don't care if the job cut you loose when you know you was in a predicament or a season or a situation that you could actually handle that or run through that. I don't care what it is. You are always the MVP of your story. You are the quarterback. And the only person that you try to hit on the field is the person holding the ball. In between every play, when they say hike, you got the ball. So the enemy's job is to try to take you out. But when you get hurt, it ain't my job for you to be out there in that field and still try to play like ain't nothing wrong with you. Because the moment the world senses there's an injury, they come all the way in. So for me, I have to learn, you can go 100 in the paint, but there's a time frame of your life where you can sit your butt down on the bench and be okay. You're not going to lose your spot, but heal properly, because there's a fine line between playing hurt and messing around there and getting injured.
Playing hurt and getting injured. Basically, y'all heard it here. You do not want to play hurt, because you can end up injured, and not just injure you, injure somebody else. So, Twyla,
hold on, time out, flag on the play. I ain't got my whistle.
Where the whistle?
And I gotta say this because I believe everyone who comes to this event is a leader. I don't care if you don't have a job title that says you're a leader. You may be a leader inside your household. You may be a leader inside a religious organization. You may be a leader of your block watch, your community. I don't know what you're a leader of, but I believe everyone under the sound of my voice is a leader in something. Right, which will always make you public enemy number one in the enemy's eye. The job will always be to try to take you out. So if you're out there playing in this season, your job is to figure out where you are in the lineup of things and making sure you get everything you need in order to go back out there in 2023 and crush it, even if that means sidelining yourself intentionally for a season or two. Right, so I just want to put it out there real quick.
Dr. Kareem, I love that you said that. When I was going through my separation and divorce, I was literally MIA. I have some schoolmates. It's like, where have you been? I mean, we were separated for about almost 3 years before we even filed, but we were completely separated. I had already moved out to Arizona and things like that. And I know a lot of my family and friends here never knew what really happened. nothing happened, and that we're not going to talk about that today. But today, candidly, I like to say that I literally went on the sideline. But was I busy healing? Not necessarily. I was trying to figure out what, being the air sign that I am, the Libra, what in the world went wrong and why. I spent almost 3 years on digging, like someone who was just picking at a sore, and not necessarily taking the actionable steps and recruiting the right environment and health to heal and soothe the wounds that were there. I didn't have a clue where to start. And that's why I'm going to pivot back to you, Twyla. You know, today we just want to give our audiences a little bit of tips. What would you say? My question to us is, what would you say to our viewers? They're going to come up. We're inviting them, if they're in the area, if they're in Texas, to get themselves to this event, or even possibly if you want to make the investment to get yourself out to Texas, to do that as well, because again, it's like a one-stop shop for getting on track, right? So Twyla, tell us why, what tips can you give us to walk with? Because you're also one of the keynote speakers, and you're going to be presenting at this event. What would you give our viewers as tangible tips to walk away, to get started with picking up the pieces, no matter how they feel, what it was like us? We're basically talking about when we were broken, coming out of relationships. Because I'll say this, here's why I think picking up the pieces, really, it can go for anything, but it goes back to relationships. Even if it wasn't a marriage or situationship, it might have just been a breakup or whatever. I find that human relationships are the most important. I was just posted the other, it is the third most important on the hierarchy of needs, right? So whether you're picking up the pieces of coming out of a marriage, a romantic relationship, or a familiar relationship, maybe you lost a loved one, or you broke up with your family, or your sister, or your mother, or your kids, or whatever it could be. What would you give us as tangible tips, 2 things, or how many you ever can give us today that we can say, hey, come to the event, and here's what I'll tell you more about this when you get there.
Oh yeah. Well, without giving it all away, what I'm going to talk about at the event, we're get one.
Hey, listen, you got to throw that disclaimer out there, because there's somebody be like, oh, I'm just going to take notes.
Right.
That's what we're going to do.
Dr. Lisa, now we want them to get in the building, right? That's the word I've been saying for almost a year.
Listen, while you're listening to us give you a couple tips to start you off and give you reason to ensure, we got the information. The tickets are still available right on the bottom of the screen. You'll see where you can go to Eventbrite and grab your ticket right now. There's just a few more left, but go ahead and do that. It's coming up at the bottom of the screen. Go ahead, Twyla.
Oh yeah, sure. So one of my thing I always talk about it is self-care. You got to take care of yourself, y'all. And that's one of the things I am going to be talking about. However, I'll give you an example of what I did, and it may not work for you. It may work for you. I defined who I was again. So every Friday night for the 3 years post-divorce, because it was a struggle. When I tell you that post-divorce was rocky, it was crazy. But every Friday night, I would get off from work, 5 o'clock, traffic in Dallas is horrible. I didn't care. I would go to the same restaurant, sit in the same spots at the bar and have a cocktail. And that just made me so happy. Now, I didn't sit up there to get tore down and alleviated or nothing like that. I just wanted to wind down. Like, what am I going through? I would have guys approach me. I would literally purposely, intentionally sit on the opposite side at the end of the bar so nobody would come bother me. Oh, ma'am, I just need to talk to you. I wasn't in that space. So talking about recovery and talking about getting back out there today, I was a mess. There was no way I was trying to bring anybody into my space. I'm trying to figure out how to get out of the space I'm in right now.
Hold on now. I'm trying to figure out how many men run around Texas with a fake phone number.
I don't know.
I'm laughing. Listen, about a year ago, I had a dude call me, and I guess the woman gave him a wrong number, and it was my number, right? I think she just pulled it out the blue. And I'm going back to like, bro, I promise you, she gave you a wrong number. You need to send you a photo and let you show. This is me. She played you. So I'm wondering how many fake numbers you gave to people.
Listen, Dr. Kareem, I literally told one guy, I said, listen, you're not about to get my number. I just had to be real with him. No number for here. No. And the bartenders knew me because they knew I was sitting in that same spot. I don't want to be bothered. I'm trying to get into my own thoughts. But yeah, I did give out some fake numbers, but a couple of times I just had to say, listen, you don't want to get involved with me. I may look cute on the outside, but baby, I'm broken on the inside.
Oh,
Ooh. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's my one, Dr. Alisa.
You guys got my head spinning because there's so many people walking around, and you see, you guys know I talk about we are perfect, whole, and complete. You got everything you need inside you, but when your pieces are on the ground, it's not perfect, whole, and complete. That thing is, it's a broken. It's like so you have to be intentional and do something. And like you said, I went to this bar, and I mean, it sounds so simplistic, but you were literally spending time by yourself. And sometimes, because you could have gone home and you flip the TV and tune out from your own thoughts, but you were listening to your own thoughts and feelings. And that's a very major tip right there. So you can assess and be like, yeah, bro, you don't want none of this because I am a mess right now. And you would know that if you were blanking out the spirit. D, what do you have for us on that?
I'm gonna jump on that one real quick for Miss Twyla though, because them fake numbers, man. Remember I'm gonna keep it PG. Never mind. I'm keep PG.
Yeah, we got a brass to protect, but it's Candid, so you can say like how many of those you got, D? Anyway, I'm a business.
Hey, okay, look, but for real, I remember dating myself for a long time too. And my friends would say, man, why you take yourself out? I mean, I would make reservations to 5-star restaurants, and I love the movies and go and sit there and watch movies. Like, dude, are you lonely? Are you sad? No, man. When I was broken, I was lonely. When I was broken, I was sad. I love me.
Yes.
I love me. I love my company because I had to learn how to love me. That's not a little cute thing people say, right? But you really have to love yourself before you can love anybody else. So my tidbit that I want people to walk away with from the conference, from when I have my opportunity, is just to clap for yourself. Because you go through so much, and you have so many people that wants to put these titles on you and these comparisons on you. At the end of the day, you have to clap for yourself on the good days and the bad days. Hey man, today wasn't a good day today. Today was a great day today. So that's what I want to really share and get across to the ones that may come and join us, weekend after next, is everything else that everybody's saying. But for me, just learn to clap for yourself and love yourself.
Yes. I love that you said it's not just a cute thing. It really is not. And the older I get and the longer it has taken me to really connect with an ideal person, it's the more I got time to connect with me. It's like I had no other choice because I wasn't going to chase and introduce just anybody. And that space is so free. And because of that, loving someone else, romantically or else, it just becomes so easy. Like they're not obligated to anything. It's either they're here to reciprocate or they're not. And it's if they can't reciprocate, whatever it is, I'm loving me and I'm loving people, and it's easier to love people because people are gonna fail, they're gonna mess up. But it's like I'm always in a space of like, girl, you kick ass. I was not like that. I was always trying to fix myself. Like, what's wrong with you? Why can't I get this? And I'm like, girl, you snort when you laugh. That's so cute. I love it. Girl, look at all this stuff you get to do. And I'm literally with that attitude of gratitude, just provoke that. So loving yourself, and it's not just the self-love things. Those are good to start off. but when you're just really comfortable with yourself, no matter where you are, everything is just falling apart around you.
Yeah.
But you just have that literal peace be still moment. Dr. Kareem, I'm going to switch over to you. What
Sure.
would that look like for you if you had to give us something to walk away that we can expect from you at the event? Because you are the number one breakthrough strategist, and we know from your stories you have broken through a lot of things in your own life. So give us something today for our audience.
I'm gonna leave it with two things. Number one, I liken this situation to folks going through physical trauma, and when you get admitted to a hospital through an ER, depending on what the trauma is, they just don't release you back to your self-care. They may hold you there for 2 or 3 days, maybe longer, depending on how good your insurance is. If you got some janky insurance, you might be back out. You might be back out there in the streets, right? But the whole goal of keeping you inside the recovery room is just that, giving you time to recover. And even with the recovery room, there are windows when people can visit you and when they can't. That means there's time when they want you to be in that room by yourself. There's a limit on how many people can actually be in the recovery room. Why? Because when you get going through healing, you ain't supposed to go through healing with a multitude of people there. So my concept is this. I think that a lot of folks coming into this are going through a season and a shift where they're in recovery and they have limited access to certain people, places, and things. And that's intentional. That's not accidental. In order for you to go and grow to the next level, God is very methodical about what He removes out of your place, your space, so you can't muck up the healing process. And this sucks because most of us want to be so busy all the time that we don't have to focus on the concept of what healing actually looks like. And let me be clear: anything that's ever taken off your plate is always intentional. Meaning, if I have removed it, I removed it for the sole purpose that it is actually hindering you and slowing you down. I have an appointed time and place I'm trying to put you at, but I got to remove the things off the plate that's slowing you down. And for some people that don't want to hear this, they're going to hear it. It has been the toxic relationship that you have been trying to hold on to intensely. Even though you saw every single red flag you need to see, you held on to it intensely, knowing it wasn't good for you, and you was trying to barter not with them, you was trying to barter against God for your destiny, your calling, and your purpose. Come on, somebody, right? When you don't move into alignment for your divine assignment, that's when things get removed. That's when you get put into the recovery room. That's when you have limited access to people, places, and things, so you can heal properly and be ready to assume the helm of command for what you've been put here and designed to do. And so I'm gonna leave it on that note. I'm gonna leave it right there.
Ooh. Where's the mic? Where's the mic?
Somebody get a whistle. Anybody got a whistle?
Mic drop.
Listen, all I'm going to say to everybody who's watching, that is our assassin in chief. And the reason we call ourselves assassins is because exactly what he just did. One of the parts is so important because healing is a continuous journey. You'll be healing after all the crap that you've gone through. I know for me,
right.
I look at healing because there are times when things pop up. I'm like, where the heck that came from? That was like 20, 30 years ago.
Yes.
But when you learn to surround yourself with the right people, this is my family here, guys. I spend a lot of time with these people every week. So I'm just saying, be intentional about your growth. You want to be in the room.
Yes.
You want to get to this event. I am traveling, like I said, from Arizona. I want to travel from Texas. D, where are you traveling from?
Kentucky.
Dr. Kareem.
Ohio.
Where are all the experts coming from, Twyla? Tell us.
Yes, got 3 here from Texas. One's coming from Houston, though. But yeah, the other 3 are
coming from
Texas.
all over the country.
And then Susan is Chicago, Illinois.
I want you all to go ahead and scan that QR code on the screen right now. And if you don't live in Texas and you know someone that does, you can go ahead and buy a ticket for them right now by scanning this QR code. You'll get the link will pop up on your screen. Just get your camera out, scan the QR. Twyla, here's the question, the last question. I can't believe that almost an hour went by so quickly. I want to ask us, while y'all are getting this down, how do you describe success? I want to know what you describe success after having to pick up the pieces of your own life. Twyla, what is success to you now? I'm going to ask everybody that sits on the purple couch this question every time.
Wow. Dr. Alisa, my success is just me being happy with me. And regardless of the talk show that I have, regardless of putting on this event, it's just being happy with me and enjoying not learning myself, but enjoying being with me. I really enjoy my own company. I take myself out, I do things by myself, but that is part of my success. And then, of course, being able to coach people through their recovery journey and their process through my show, through events like this, because this isn't the first one. It's more to come after this. I just truly believe this thing is not just a one and done. And so for me, that's my success, and helping people along that journey to get their happy back and to learn how to love themselves again. And when they look in that mirror, they can really smile and not have a mask and going through life like they're happy, but they're really hurting, because people can see that. I went through it. I wore a mask for so long, until I just finally said, y'all, I can't take it no more. I just got to be real with y'all. I'm not happy. And so when I got to that place, Dr. Alisa, of the happiness and being genuinely happy, not because I have things, not because of another person, but that inward happiness, that inward joy, that peace that surpasses, in the words, that surpasses all understanding, right?
Okay,
That's
okay.
success for me. That's success for me.
Wow. Derron, what's success for you after picking up the pieces of your own life?
Man, just knowing that I'm moving forward. I made a video up the other day just talking about how things in the rearview mirror, you know what that sentence says, things are closer than what they appear. But at one time, I didn't see that. At one time, I never would have thought that I could overcome what I was dealing with. Not just from my guilt, but from the guilt of others, as I said earlier. I never thought it. But beginning to pick up my pieces and growing, and 2020 was my self-development year. Wow. I mean, I just worked on me. And then 2021 was I began to learn what my purpose was and how to be better with my purpose. And I'm living my purpose. I'm getting stronger in my purpose. So success for me is not making a 5-year goal, a 10-year goal. Success for me is appreciating my moment and allowing God to use me in this moment. Success for me is when I wake up and I get an inbox to say, hey, what you posted yesterday touched me. Success for me is when I'm at a restaurant with my daughters and a man is looking at me with his woman across the aisleway, and I'm thinking to myself, like, did I say something to this girl way back in the day? I'm like, why he keep looking at me? But then, then he comes stand beside me after he pays his check and he says, I see you on social media. He said, I can't like your stuff because I don't want people to know that what you are putting out, it relates to me. He said, but thank you for what you do. Wow. That is a success to me because I know that overcoming my pain and walking into my purpose some kind of way is allowing God to plant seeds in somebody else's life. So that's how success is looking to me.
Wow. Dr. Karim, what is success for you after picking up the pieces or while you're picking up the pieces, however you describe that?
So I'm going to give the best answer I could possibly give. And because I've gone through so many different stages of what I thought success was, right? I thought success was creating a lot of wealth. I thought success was finding love. I thought success was popping out a family. I thought success was a job with a power title to make me feel or seem more important than I possibly was. I thought success was a level of education. I thought success was the car I drove or the cars I drive, to the houses and things that I own, having a debt-free lifestyle. I thought success was a multitude of different things until I went to the creator and said, man, what is success? And it segues off of what Dee said a second ago. Success was walking out your intended purpose, the reason why I put you here. Before Adam had Eve, Adam had an assignment. And most of us messed that up, right? That means all the things that you're thinking about, that is a byproduct of success. But to me, success is actually walking out and completing your God assignment, which is the reason why you're here. So I tell people the 3 most important days of your life. Number 1 is the day you're born, because that's when you step into Chronos time and you bless the world with your presence. The second most important day of your life is when you discover the reason why you're here. It took me 26 years to figure that out. And then the third most important day was the day I had the courage to step up to the plate and walk it out, because a lot of times our calling calling, our purpose, what we've been put here to do, looks larger than our current reality. We'll look at our resources, we'll look at our connections, we'll look at our background, we'll look at our beliefs, we'll most importantly look at the places we fell and stumbled along the way, and we'll catfish ourselves into believing that we're not worthy of walking that thing out. But God does not make mistakes on who he's called. The problem is we don't look like what we're supposed to end up like. In other words, we don't look like the finished product. So what I learned from me was my job is to walk out my assignment to the fulfillment. So if that's speaking on stages all over the world, if it's like D is saying, putting positive message out there and blessing people, and also the other thing is reproducing after myself, meaning that when I leave this planet, I've left seeds of myself, not only in other people that heard the message, but in other people that can carry the speaker mantle on and do the same exact thing, then my job is complete. So for me, that's been the shift. This is the season, probably more so than ever before, where I've got my focus on like never before. And to be clear, right? For most people, when you come to picking up the pieces, when you leave, you're going to start to get focused.
That's
you're
right.
You're going to start to get clarity real quick on what is actually important. Two things you two both said earlier here. I didn't get a chance to segue back. You talked about the discipline to take yourself off the playing field for a second to get focused. And there's a lot of people that don't do that. So once you come out of picking up the pieces, the hope and the prayer and the belief, the shift belief is that most people will walk out here extremely focused about what is actually important, what is valuable, and what do I need to go ahead and release. Like people gonna have mental yard sales and just be putting stuff out for cheap.
My God.
Getting rid of stuff that no longer services them and this season or the coming season, because it's going to be clear I don't need to put up with this, I don't need to tolerate this, and this is actually a distraction, a hindrance. It's slowing me down. It's not pushing, propelling me, or progressing me forward. So for me, success is figuring out what's the reason why I'm here and how do I walk that thing all the way through to completion. So on my final day, I get that good job, my faithful servant. You took your gifts, your talents, your expertise, and you actually did something with them. Last thing I'll say is whatever you've been given, God wants a rate of return on it. So if I've given it to you, I want to see a rate of return come out of it. No one invests in anything that doesn't give a rate of return. So as people, every single one of us, we're obligated to give a rate of return based on our experiences, what we successfully made it through, because everyone on this panel right now has been through something that could have taken a lesser person out. People put their out every single day. Come on now, right? People do all types of crazy. Some of us have been through stuff where the person who put us through it, they lucky they got the right one, because the wrong one would have took their life for what they did. Come on now.
Okay.
People have God's grace and covering them, because if they pick the wrong dude or the wrong chick, they wouldn't be walking around. Everyone would be going to mourn them at a funeral because of what they did, right? So I say that succinctly, that it's not an easy journey to get to this place, and the enemy knows what it is you're trying to do. So there'll always be those stumbling blocks. But for me, success is meeting my Heavenly Father in the heavenly places. He say, you know what, you did it. The odds was stacked against you. There's all types of hurdles. They was betting on you to lose. They was gambling on you to lose. Like they was rooting when you got knocked down and got up on that 9 count. You put some folks off. Yes. But I'm so happy that you didn't give up and you saw the thing to the completion.
Come on.
Come on now.
Good.
Come on.
Come on. If we say anything else, y'all need to pay, because y'all better buy tickets. Just buy tickets because we just came up here.
But Dr. Lisa, did you hear what he said? Did you hear what he said? A mental yard sale.
Okay. Point now.
I didn't come up with that. But listen, my coach did, so I'm about to take that.
Yeah.
Because I don't think
I'm gonna quote that one, Dr. Kareem.
Let's be real. Let's be real. Most of us are holding on to stuff like hoarders. And you can't heal from something if you still hang on to the memories. One of the toughest things I had to do was go through my phone and get rid of 50,000 photos.
Come on,
literally, like every day I made it my assignment to get rid of at least 1,000 a day. Like, I'm gonna shake this toxicity. Don't call me. I put my phone on do not disturb. I was getting rid of memories like it was nothing. But I'm Aquarius. You know, we detach very quickly. If you mess around, you never existed. We move fast. So it was a lot of mental clutter. And mental clutter impedes your ability to see things clearly. So you gotta have that yard sale. You gotta put some stuff out there for dirt cheap. People are like, man, how much does this cost? I like you so much you can have it for free. Take it. All you can fit in the back of your car. You can fit it free.
That's funny.
When he got a divorce, he took all, when he was, they didn't even got the debt divorce yet, but he knew the hair was coming. He took all the things out of the house. They had a big mansion and put it out on a yard sale. But you know what he did? He sliced everything in half. He sliced it in half and then put it out in the yard sale. She said she wanted half of everything. Well, she could get it, and I'm gonna give away the rest. I mean, he was, he was in that mental space where he was just hurting and angry.
Yeah.
But that concept, Dr. Karim, and as a number one mindset disruptor, I have to say is one of the biggest things when I talk about my healing and recovery. This is why I always point everything back to the mindset, because the state of mind that I was in, I didn't just need a mental yard sale. I need a mental detox, a flush, all of it, because I had built up so much, and I'm not pointing fingers at anybody, but I had accumulated, whether it's on my own or by, where my environment and the relationship, the nature of the relationship, so much stuff that would not serve anything that had to do with my purpose. So it's the unbecoming that might include a mental yard sale, detox, a flush, an environmental declutter, and trash out, as Dr. Karim talks about when he's talking real estate, all of that. So let's get you started at picking up the Peace Expo.
Yeah.
Picking up the QR code one more time. Twyla, tell us a little bit more where we need to go to get our tickets and get in the building, as you say.
Right. Go out to Picking Up the Pieces expo.eventbrite.com.
Right there at the bottom.
Rolling around across the screen. There it is. The QR code right there.
Absolutely.
Yes,
and where can we follow you, Twyla, on your social media? How can we get in touch with you personally?
Absolutely. I'm on all social media platforms under Divorce Talk with Twyla on Instagram, Facebook, on LinkedIn, IG, everywhere. So go out there, follow me, and get in the building. It's going to be life-changing. Y'all heard it right here. We almost gave you, an hour of Picking Up the Pieces Expo right here.
This is free expo. Let's make a word up. D, how do we get in contact with you, and how are you upside down?
I have no idea.
He got Spider-Man going on right now.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on.
What happened?
What's a what you want?
You can find me on Facebook under my name, Derron Rowan, and on Instagram, D Rowan. That's how you can find me. Please connect.
Let's go, Dr. Karim.
All right. Check me at Dr. Karim. You can find me on Instagram under Karim Ellis 2.0. And if you go to any social media platform, you type in Dr. Karim R. Ellis, you pull me up. If you Google me, Facebook, Twitter, you name it, I'm there.
I'm not sure why we can't, but you are. I'm echoing. Am I echoing for you all too?
I think it was D.
Okay, D might be having.
We're good now.
There we go. We're clear. I just want to thank you all, Twyla. It's been such an honor to host this conversation. Again, congratulations. I love this topic. If you all didn't catch us on Instagram, we definitely didn't bring the same thing. So you want to go back and watch Instagram. Twyla, we just speak that this event is going to be a big one, and Dr. Karim spoke over you a few nights ago that it should be duplicated, definitely needed. So congratulations again, and thank you, Derron, Dr. Karim, for being here with me in Candid Conversations. This conversation is always here. Y'all can come back anytime, and I welcome anyone who just wants to talk to reach out to me, go to my website, and we can curate a little bit of a conversation so we can share something with the world that you want to talk about. There are some rules that apply to this because, again, it's an open conversation, but we just can't do anything. So go to www.alisawhite.com and you can click on the talk show and help me curate a conversation. I've got a lot of things that I'm going to talk about next week. I'm going to be going to Texas So I don't know, y'all might catch me in the airport, or I don't know where I'm going to be, but Thursday night, I'll see you all here as often as possible. And you might even see my friends pop up to have these conversations. Anything that y'all want to say last before we head out?
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Lisa. Awesome conversation, y'all. Yes.
So we're going to head out. I want to wish you all peace, love, light, and blessing. Go pick up the pieces from wherever. It's intentional. It's not incidental. You can't, as Dr. Karim always says, you cannot heal what you don't confront. You can't cure. You can't fix. You can't become. You got to take out the trash before you even hit getting on the ground to go where you need to go. So I want to wish you all love, light, peace, and blessing. And I will see you all next week. Have a good night. Bye, y'all.
Bye.